The file you are about to hear has been thoroughly scrutinized by the Ethics Committee and approved by the O5 Council for release to trusted associates of the Foundation. This is SCP Unredacted. Item number SCP-6178, Level 1, Unrestricted. Containment Class, Euclid. Disruption Class, Connect. Risk Class, Danger. Special Containment Procedures. An information campaign has been established in order to publicize the prevalence of financial scams within internet communities that are affected by SCP-6178 and thereby decrease public traffic to these websites. Foundation staff are discouraged from frequenting affected communities. Autonomous web crawler IO Pointer is programmed to search affected websites and detect and remove suspected instances. Persons confirmed to have viewed an instance of the anomaly are to be contained in individual secure humanoid containment cells, each equipped with antimemetic shielding to prevent leaking of information out of the containment chamber. All communication with subjects should be closely monitored for cognitohazardous vectors. Corpses of subjects should not be subjected to autopsy or brain scan. Person of interest 6178, alias is unknown, is currently at large and should be considered highly dangerous. Apprehension of this individual has been assigned to Mobile Task Force 8-10. See no evil. The following description may require revisions, reasoning, incomplete explanation of the anomaly's full neurological effects following recent research breakthroughs, and Incident 6178 Bear Market. Proceed with caution. Description: SCP-6178 is a series of cognitohazardous text posts which periodically appear on social media platforms dedicated to financial speculation, especially communities involved with cryptocurrencies, stock trading, or exchange of non-fungible blockchain tokens. The content of these posts is largely incomprehensible, but typically mimics the style and structure of non-anomalous posts in these communities and contains a high density of algorithmically supported keywords. The majority of persons who view an anomalous instance for any considerable length of time will be affected. Infection is characterized by a gradual degeneration of cognitive functions, correlated with a paradoxical increase in detected neuron activity. This activity is initially localized, with brain regions responsible for mathematical processing, but often metastasizes to other regions of the brain as infection progresses. Anomalously induced brain activity serves no detected function in bodily control or maintenance. Severe infection concludes with near-total dysautonomia, coma, and unless extensive life support is employed, death. A neutralized anomalous instance follows. The text has been removed from its original context, and several key cognitohazardous vectors have been automatically expunged.
Access file SCP-6178. Attachments. Example.txt.
Investors, rejoice. We are now pioneering discovered game-changing innovation into space. New business intelligence is that we transform customers directly to capital. Join today and believe that some will be regrettable for the greater good. Here's your ticket to the moon.
Cognitohazard expunged.
There are two kinds of people: those who reach above Rube standards of morality and grasp your own actualization, and those who will never know success.
Cognitohazard expunged.
In the coming days, and the market soars 10 million%. Be ready. There's one easy trick to increase your share capital that they don't want you to know about. Step 1. Find someone who doesn't believe and
Cognitohazard expunged.
until they can't anymore. #investment. #tips. We are always seeking new brainpower to help us achieve greater heights. You can get in on the ground floor of this innovative engine. Are you with us, or are you beneath us? If you are reading this, you've already made your choice. Enjoy your new life. You've earned it.
Cognitohazard expunged.
Welcome.
Addendum 1. Research.
Personal log, Dr. Frederick Hayden, The first few days assigned to SCP-6178 research. Not even sure what I'm looking for exactly, but Command doesn't like what they don't understand. It's a weird one. Can't put conjecture in the description, but I don't think the neurodegeneration and the anomalous activity are just correlated. Every time a new part of one of these people's brains lights up with 6178 activity, they start to lose function in that area. If the brain is a computer, it has a limited processing power, which can be used up. I think the key is figuring out what that processing power is being used for. That activity isn't actually directing the body to do anything, but it's not just neurons firing at random. Looks exactly like high-level data processing, even in regions that don't normally do that. Look into getting some control brain scans of people presented with lots of data. Waiting on those control scans. I've been having trouble sleeping. Think it would get easier after years of foundation work, but watching these people's minds decay. I can't even do anything about it yet. A couple dozen subjects, all of them saw one of the first instances before we got that web crawler running. Only thing they did was log into the internet to talk about Bitcoin. Most of them don't even remember what that is. Retrograde amnesia. Tired. Brain scans are getting me nowhere. The closest thing this activity looks like is high-level, abstract mathematical processing. Are any of these people even mathematicians? This doesn't tell me anything. The only way to actually see what these people's brains are doing would be... I'm requisitioning use of NICE 3. It's intended as a spy system and supposed to be well above my clearance level. But the data 6178 activity is processing has to come from somewhere. If NICE uses data transfer as a vector, I should be able to use it to figure out where that is. Maybe find out how to stop it. Command hasn't gotten back to me yet. The worst ones will be gone soon. Their brains are barely doing anything but whatever this thing tells them to do. Should hit the hindbrain in a few days and then it'll be over. Most of them aren't that bad, but that's almost worse. They're still aware enough to remember that they're forgetting, that their body's just refusing to function. What a waste. Neurologist, not a palliative carer. Nothing I can do but watch. One of the subjects was a mathematician, D6178-04. Should have talked to him days ago. Essentially confirmed that 6178 activity is mathematical processing of some kind. Asked him to solve some higher level calculations and his brain lit up in the exact same way. He told me it felt like working over a problem in your head for hours, finally coming up with an answer, and then it was just siphoned out of your head. That's the word he used, siphoned. Must be driving him crazy. So what are they calculating? Approved on use of NICE 3. Breakthrough, but I haven't solved it, not yet. I used it on D04. It just felt right. What we're seeing is an incredible amount of data dumped into the brain from somewhere NICE can't get to, and occasionally the brain actually spits out an output. It gets siphoned almost instantly, but we can record it before it goes. It's just codes that I don't understand, but it's clearly the answer that something wants. 64 alphanumeric characters. 52 numbers, 12 letters, 23 zeros. What the hell does this mean? We figured it out. Oh my God. Some of our lab techs recognize that code. Apparently it's something called a block hash, used in cryptocurrency mining of all things. The same communities that 6178 targets in the first place. You need to generate the right number in order to receive a valid currency. So you need processing power, as much of it as you can get. We checked the ledgers of a few of the most popular cryptocurrencies, and sure enough, transactions using valid coins stamped with legitimate numbers, except they were the same numbers that these people have been killing themselves calculating, all eventually linking back to the same wallet. We don't even have their name, just a designation, person of interest 6178. These people's brains aren't being wasted. They're being used for processing power.
Addendum 2. Incident 6178. Bear Market.
Incident Report. Following the research findings detailed in Addendum 1, the containment chambers of some anomalously affected subjects were outfitted with antimemetic shielding, preventing data generated by the brain from leaving the unit. Additionally, several cryptocurrency wallets belonging to Person of Interest 6178 were remotely accessed and disabled to prevent spending of anomalously acquired currency. Shortly thereafter, Dr. Hayden conducted an interview with D6178-04, who reported the cessation of the siphoning feeling described by Dr. Hayden and indicated pleasure at this development. D6178-04 consented to a brain scan during this interview in order to test the effects of suppression of the anomaly. Partway through the brain scan process, Dr. Hayden detected an abnormality in the subject's brainwaves, which quickly increased in scale. Unprecedentedly high activity in all regions of the brain was observed, producing symptoms similar to an extremely severe epileptic seizure. While the subject was being removed from the MRI machine, all brain activity suddenly ceased. The subject was pronounced dead due to status epilepticus several minutes after the scan commenced. Upon Dr. Hayden's return to the containment chambers, 100% of anomalously affected subjects were found unresponsive. The cause of death was determined to be seizures, identical to D6178-04. Several subjects were found to have written messages on the walls of their containment chamber prior to death, using their own bodily fluids. All messages read as follows:
My investment.
Several days after this incident, a lab technician in Dr. Hayden's research team was diagnosed with symptoms consistent with anomalous infection. Within 1 week, 94% of personnel who viewed D6178-04's brain scan, or the messages written by the other subjects, were diagnosed with anomalous infection. The leading hypothesis is that cognitohazardous triggers were embedded in the subjects' brains from an external source, likely the same one providing them with mathematical data. It is recommended that the corpses of all future anomalous victims be incinerated without autopsy. Thank you for listening. If you like what you hear, join my Discord community, hire me on Fiverr, or help support me by becoming a patron for as little as $3 a month. Regardless of tier, all patrons get early access to every single episode. The links are in the description. I don't have the talent it takes to write a skip. All I do is read. Original authors make this podcast possible, so credit to the original author. Their link's in the description. Show them some love as well. Consider becoming a member of the SCP Wiki. Upvote their work, and maybe write a skip of your own. Maybe I'll read it here someday. You never know if you never try. The content of this podcast and content relating to the SCP Foundation, including the SCP Foundation logo, is licensed under Creative Commons Sharealike 3.0, and all concepts originate from scpwiki.com and its authors. This recording, being derived from this content, is hereby also released under Creative Commons Sharealike 3.0.